all people, regardless of party. And in respect of the FDC, we are trying to reorganize the party, which I'm sure all our listeners know has had problems over the last 2 or 3 years. And those problems have now led to 2 centers that are being referred to as Najana, Nkumbi, and Katonga, which is a very, very unfortunate development because, as you know, the motto of FDC is one Uganda, one people. So now we are one Uganda and 2 people, which we need to resolve. And that is one of the reasons we are discussing with the members and leaders of the party, because the disagreement is in the party leadership, not in the party membership. And so we want to resolve that, and it was decided by one of the leadership forums of the party, the National Council, that there is a consultation in all regions of the country about how we should move forwards. And so that is one of the matters we are engaged with, and that's why we are having meetings with the party. But secondly, everybody who is listening will know that our country is in very, very deep problems, which were the problems that caused the beginning of the party in the first place. Because the reason FDC was formed, and indeed the reason it is called Forum for Democratic Change, is because we intended to fight for a change that brings democracy to Uganda. You are aware, Bonnie, that since independence, all leaders of Uganda have been removed by guns. All of them. And those who have come to take power have also come using guns, including Mr. Museveni, who is now going to be in office about 40 years. And so the purpose of the party itself was to end rule using guns, so that people can be the rulers, not the guns. And all the problems our people face in the country, or the greatest majority of those problems, come from that. The fact that Ugandans don't have power in their country. They are ruled by force. They have no say on how their wealth is applied in the country. The country is captured. And so the purpose of FDC, regardless of what, you know, whether people are members of FDC or not, the purpose of FDC is to make sure that every Ugandan has equal power in their country, have control over their country and their resources. So the public meetings we hold is to discuss with the people of Uganda how we achieve that. And that's why the public meetings are not partisan. They are for everybody. All of us, how do we get out of this captivity in which the country lies? So these are the 2 main objectives why we are here.
At the start of the show, you were saying that there is only a challenge at the leadership levels, there are no problems actually with supporters of the FDC.
That's true.
But Doctor, what we now see is that there is a faction that sits at Najera Kumbi.
Yes.
There is a faction that now also sits at Katonga.
Yes.
And we have people who are aligned to the leadership at Katonga and people who are also aligned to leadership at Najera Kumbi. Doesn't this show a contradiction, Doctor?
Yes, so the contradiction, as I have said, is a contradiction that starts from leadership, not from the members of FDC. It was a leadership contradiction. In other words, it was a problem of what leaders were doing or not doing, not about members. Now, of course, when leaders develop problems, they introduce them to the members to seek support for the various positions they take. So the problems begin at the leadership, but they introduce them in the membership. And that's why first of all, each one who introduces problems to the membership will give their own perspective. And it is important that the membership listens to all and make their independent decision, informed decision. Because if the problem begins up there, people don't know what caused the problem. So it's important that everybody understands what caused the problem, how the problem can be solved, and then they make their judgment and recommend how we move forward. So that's the purpose of these consultations.
Doctor, somebody may even want to ask that were these challenges and contradictions between leaders too big to be, discussed by the leaders themselves or even by the membership of the party and have it reconcile together and come back so that FDC stands?
Well, the fact that it hasn't happened means that they were big. Because FDC has been working for about 20 years. Don't think that we haven't had problems over 20 years. There have been a lot of problems in the 20 years that we have resolved. So the fact that these were problems that we have not been able to resolve means that these were really serious problems and that we have certainly engaged with, tried extremely hard to resolve, but not being able to resolve. And the reason why these problems were especially hard is that they were started at the very top. Because if you have problems in the family, amongst family members, then the head of the family can and should play an important role in resolving the problems of the family. But where the head of the family is the problem, then the family is in deep trouble, because what happened?
If you were to give an example of your party, FDC,
yes.
So if you say the head is the problem,
Yes.
who do you look at as the person bringing the problems to FDC?
So, you see what happened. Let me maybe use this opportunity, Bonnie, to explain at this stage where this problem comes from. And I would like our listeners to hear me carefully. You see, I told you what FDC was set up to do. It was set up to liberate Uganda from capture by the Museveni family. This is not an easy task by any standards, to stop guns from controlling the country. It's not an easy task, That's why it has not happened in the last 62 years.
The same person you're accusing also defends himself, and the NRM has always defended itself and says that, look, since 1996, we've been having elections after every 5 years. So it is the people that actually decides who should lead.
So at this point, I wouldn't want to engage in the problems of Museveni and what the lies he tells. I want first to deal with the problems of those who want to remove him. Because everybody knows that Museveni, he has been here for 40 years. Everybody knows he's a liar, he's, all kinds of deceitful things. It's not Museveni to talk about elections. Because if Museveni wanted to have any respect for elections, he would not have gone to the bush. He went to the bush precisely because he thought there were problems in elections. And that going to the bush led to the death of 500,000 people. So we are not talking about what Museveni does or says. He's a consummate liar. What we are talking about is how do we solve the problems among those who want to remove him. So FDC wanted to cause change that has never been caused since Uganda became a country. We have never subdued those with guns so that the unarmed people, ordinary Ugandans, take charge of the country. It has never happened. So we are trying to do what has never happened, to subordinate guns, to make guns inferior to the people. It means the people of Uganda must defeat the guns or the gunmen for the gunmen to respect them and salute them and know that people are more important than guns. So we have we gave ourselves a very difficult task. And that task has taken long. You see, 20 years of struggle is not a short time. Yesterday I was in Masindi, and one of our leaders there, who is now a mayor, was less than 20 years when we first met, and he was reminding me he was, a young boy, but now he has white beards, like Dr. Poro here. So 20 years of struggle is a long time. And what happened with our brothers is that along the 20 years, people get exhausted in all ways. Those who had some money, the money gets finished. They sell their properties, their businesses collapse. They can't take their children to schools anymore. You find they can't even treat themselves when they are sick. They get into a lot of problems in the struggle. And many of the people whom we started the struggle with are in that situation of, being against the war. And when that happens, sometimes people lose hope and they say this struggle is no longer winnable. Therefore, some people surrender. And in all struggles that take long, people increasingly surrender. Even at war, where there is armed war, people surrender.
Or retreat.
They either retreat or surrender. Surrender to the people they are fighting. They give up. And so, in the course of the 20 years of FDC struggle, we have had many people surrendering, our colleagues. And we don't blame them. People have different capacities, It's like when you are running a long race. Some people will stop after, one lap. Others will give up after 4 laps. Others will give up after 10 laps. but some will persist and finish 10 kilometers or even a marathon. So this is the same kind of thing. And as I have said, many of our leaders have given up and surrendered and joined those that we are fighting. In fact, now increasingly, those who serve at the highest level, Mr. Museveni, are those that have surrendered to him from our ranks. That's why you see the Speaker of Parliament and the Deputy Speaker were our leaders. They surrendered. Several, you saw here our brother Robert Mao surrendering. He's now serving the person he was so opposed to. Of course, you know some of our brothers, even here in the Lango region, who really surrendered. So the struggle, when it takes long, some people feel they cannot sustain the demands of the struggle. And as I have said, from time to time, people give up. So what happened this time, the reason we are here, is that towards the 2021 elections, some of our leaders came to me and said, told me about the challenges
that the party is facing,
that many people in its leadership, in the leadership of the party, and even in the membership are facing because of the struggle taking long. And so they said for them, they recommend that we change our approach. And instead of continuing to fight, we tactically ally with the leaders of the NRM junta. And so that, you know, our people can also have a breathing space, they can also get something to sustain them, they can, they said, you know, you never know, in the future things will change. Museveni is also growing old, maybe he will die, and things will improve. But if we continue like this, we ourselves are going to die even before. So we had a discussion, and I said, you see, I appreciate all what is being said, the difficulties everybody is facing, and that it has taken a long time. But in order to win some of the difficult battles of life, you have to really go through extreme hardship.
Dr. Besigye, somebody may actually want to ask, because you said you had a meeting. In that meeting, were there some concessions on the way forward?
Yeah, so, so in that meeting, we did not agree. I did not certainly agree with their approach that we needed to now work with the junta that we were fighting. Because they were saying, if we don't, people will continue giving up individually, and eventually we shall find ourselves isolated alone. And I said, well, our people have been giving up, it's all right, but others come up. You know, younger people who are still strong come up. And I tried to educate them about many struggles that have had to outlive those who started them, including our own independence struggle. It took over 60 years to get rid of the British here. The people who were in the independence struggles, many of those who started the struggle against the British were not there when the British left. They had died. Others had come up and continued the struggle. So depending on how tough the struggle is, You can't say because it is taking long for you who is there today, and you think that you treat the importance of the struggle to your own, you subject it to your own needs as a person, is wrong. So this is what I told them. We disagreed, but later on they didn't tell me. Later on only to learn that they had actually met with Museveni.
So you think that they betrayed your discussions?
So
or they actually even betrayed your advice?
Yes, and not just mine, because these were now the leaders. These were our leaders. So you see, if Dr. Ekwaro here tomorrow thinks he has had enough in the struggle and wants to meet Museveni and does so, it is his personal decision. Yes, it may affect those who supported him if he had a political work he was doing, but it is his decision. But when you are entrusted with office, you are serving under trust of very many people who have put their destiny in your hands. So if you do that, you are not just betraying a discussion you had with Besigye. You are betraying all the people who place their trust in you. And this is why we have this big problem. If it had been individuals who felt like that, we would not be having this discussion at all.
Dr. Besigye, let's stop for a quick break and then we'll return.
Morning. You're most welcome.
Yes, Bonnie, how are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you going? The journey, the challenges on the way and for the struggles.
Yes.
How are you doing?
We shall overcome them.
Bonnie, phone or what?
Yeah, boy, rotten.
Yes.
The last time you were bed, you were in Karamoja. What water can you and more you mixing and in the middle of Manila. So after me, you know, summarizing, you can come on. Yeah.
Actually, I was so worried about this program.
Secretary General, you are most welcome.
Thank you, my brother.
Good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
You're most welcome.
Thank you.
The last time I think we spoke on phone and good your meeting.
Yes.
We came last night.
You stopped calling. I thought my voice was a bad one.
No, it was in touch with you.
Well, I think I didn't well confirm whether you are going to succeed or not. Well, that is where I left.
Sorry.
But I'm happy you kept the time and because this is one of the biggest start of our program for the day. Yeah. And I know it's I'm not announced to I think people are announcing, but here we haven't announced it.
Yeah,
But we are mobilizing outside. We have put road right. But members coming once a year are aware where we're going. These are just coming people within the city.
Live in all the finals on GoTV.
So, this
It's not over yet.
what we are discussing,
UEFA Euros 2024 only on Super
will somebody summarize?
Yes. It comes to management doctor will summarize.
Supermarkets, restaurants, bars. Mistari hapo mwanachel hasha itolo gudemi picha mitem. Echo kane go chima pa echo lin nota boro not no. Tachela big no. Tachela big no.
Unan mo pati gong sun ba gong sun pero kan do kai ya kan.
Unan pa tikibiri ba.
Ka gong sun ba.
Echinte kero ko protection fund of Uganda.
If you give us like 2 days,
You can plan. You got on the bed.
Yeah. No, not do that.
Even you go along with boy balance. And the balance. You go along with boy allocation. To be reacted.
Ina contribution ni mune no vai gina wanti ufi. Yo mora ne doki bi bete mi ni gina pe lu chungi bi ga jaba. Ini yo chung dang ni dang kerti du kiem tu ka ti tu cha. Ila kimi jengo te wana mu ko me ma mora ya ti ka tani.
My son, you are the pride of this family. Thank you for honoring your promise. This is a very good result. Now, earn a degree like Musana's son.
But mommy, the market demand is different now. I prefer joining a technical school for that hands-on experience to acquire competitive skills like manufacturing.
You also let me this Frank. Come past me, see I got that.
Every time election is here, you know, they have started season.
I know. Yeah, come on.
What?
I know. They meet somewhere and push at one point.
But I still get the level.
Actually, I like the way you're saying it. Where you are, like, you can hit the house, especially in the community. I love that. It gives me hope that the spirit in you has never faded.
It's an activist man.
Ah, yes. In him has never faded.
Yeah.
So you're going to debate the sanction tomorrow about the stealing. Let us return.
Welcome back from the break. Dr. Besigye, you've been explaining these challenges, and what is the way forward now? Many people in the parts of the country have also been calling. I think the last time you were in Rukungiri and in Kasese, and in some places, there are some people who are saying, look, I think that we can still have these challenges resolved and have all people come back together under one fold in FDC. There are some people who are also saying, look, maybe we start a new vehicle. What is that solution that this consultation looks to offer?
Well, so the consultation, I think, must give the people the opportunity, as I have said, to listen to what the problems are and to make informed decisions. I think it will be improper for me to start making decisions on their behalf. I can only give them information and maybe perspectives how such things sometimes can be resolved. But at the end of the day, it is for our people to make their choice of their way forward. And when I talk about our people, I mean the people that we have been working together as FDC members in the association of One People, One Uganda. But I have told you that it has a mission. The mission is more important than the vehicle to deliver people to that mission. It's like if you leave Lira heading to Kampala, your mission is to get to Kampala. You need means of transport to get to Kampala. That is what the party does. It transports you to the objective. It's not an objective in itself. It's a means to an end. It's not an end in itself. So the end we are looking for is liberation of our country. We chose to associate so that we do so. We liberate the country. So if on the way, the vehicle you have develops a problem, then the discussion we are having ensues. Should we repair the vehicle? For example, if it had an accident, should we look for spare parts, see how to repair the vehicle, then we get back inside and continue the journey? Should we leave the vehicle being repaired and we walk? We continue on foot? Should we look for another vehicle to take us to our destination? Because you know, like if you are in a bus going to Kampala and the bus develops a problem, that situation in which we are develops. Some people are willing to wait and stay there until the bus is all right, they get back inside. Others will immediately want to jump onto another bus and continue their journey to where they were going. So that is the situation in which we are. So the dynamics of it is this. First of all, there is an argument in the party about how leaders conducted themselves. That argument has been taken to court. It is within the courts to resolve whether a delegates conference that the people in Naja and Nkumbi, for example, say they held was legitimate, was in terms of what the constitution of FDC provides. That's a disagreement that can be resolved by court. And it is before the courts. Of course, we don't have control over the courts as to when that can be resolved, how long it will take, or how it will be resolved. That is now in the hands of those where we have placed it in the court. There are uncomfortable experiences to go by in the case of court cases, one of which is a case of our brother party UPC, where some of the leaders of UPC took their colleagues to court over similar issues. The case took 7 years to resolve. So even as we try to resolve our own matters, those experiences need to be kept in mind. But that is one way of resolving the disagreement, legal way. The other way, which you have said, our own, discussions, internal discussions, is what took 2 years. We spent 2 years discussing internally. There was no resolution. If people can even now say, because the sticking issues are very clear, very well known. If people can say these can be resolved, then it's the repair of the vehicle. If the vehicle can be repaired, it continues. But if the vehicle cannot be repaired, or cannot be repaired in good time, then the occupants have a perfect legitimacy to say, let's get another vehicle and continue our journey. By the way, like in my case, I was part of NRM. And not just a part. I was a leader in NRM. I went to war to bring NRM to power. I left my profession. You know, I was a doctor. I left my profession. I gave up my career to go and fight and bring NRM to power. When it came to power, it betrayed me. And I went through similar challenges. What should we do? We have been betrayed. You know? So that is what our party members and leaders need to resolve now. Those are the dynamics.
If the team decides to take the last option, which you said, you know, it would be very uncomfortable really to take the option of buying a new vehicle to board. The last time this kind of thing happened was around 2017, when the party held its election, and some people who also felt very uncomfortable, including but not limited to the former party president, your successor, the Honorable Gregory Vukeshamuntu General, and then Alice Alaso was the former Secretary General, and other leaders went and formed Alliance for National Transformation. That actually came after 2017 elections. And if this kind of thing again happened in 2023 or 2024, don't you think that would actually be a very bad legacy for a party that actually stood as one of the most formidable parties that, you know, was prepared?
Yes, it would. You see, it is indeed very disappointing. And this is why the current, the people who have created the current problems really need to reflect. Because all this is happening under their watch. General Muntu and others had contradictions with these same leaders. And they never resolved those contradictions, they stepped apart. Whether General Muntu was right or not is a matter we can interrogate. But it happened under the watch of the same people that we had entrusted with the party. Now, you can have disagreements and you take a wrong path. If you take a wrong path, you won't thrive. If you take a right path, you will thrive. For example, you know, many people have disagreed with Museveni and left NRM. I've told you I did. I left and others left. All of us, in fact, who are in FDC, many of us were well, at that time when all Ugandans had been assumed to be in NRM, they said everybody is a part of NRM. But people disagreed and moved out, and we formed a party that has been, as you say, formidable. But not all who moved out of NRM were able to do so, you know, and there are many, you know, groups like PPP, which is also a party that formed from NRM. In fact, that one has an MP, I think, somewhere. You know, but it hasn't thrived as much as FDC did, though it left NRM. So each disagreement is sort of in a manner that gives people choices to make. If the disagreement was genuine, it will be embraced by very many people. If it is not, it won't. So, for example, you know, there was a new party formed in 2020. called NUP. It was not there. Those who disagreed with DP were able to join the new party called NUP, and it is now leading the opposition. So it means that NUP came up, although it was mainly by people who came from DP, but it means that since DP itself remained in the race, DP now has very, very few leaders in parliament. But those who broke from it were able to thrive more than its mother. So every disagreement is resolved according to different dynamics that has caused it. Like I have said, it's unfortunate, and I think the people we entrusted with the leadership of our party should really reflect. Because as I have said, FDC has been here for 20 years.
From the last time you had the meeting, have they reached out to you, or have you reached out to them?
As I told you, we had discussions for 2 years. But since then, I haven't considered it worthwhile again to engage with them, because they have made their position fairly clear. They want to work with Museveni. You remember, for example, there was the whip of the party in parliament, Honorable Semujunganda, who is also coming, is with us. Honorable Semujunganda was removed and replaced by another MP called Yusuf Nsibambi. And Yusuf Nsibambi stood in parliament and said for him, he has come to work with the government. We have been causing problems by not working with the government. So they have made up their position very clear. They don't want to be antagonistic with the government. For us, we think the government is actually inimical to the people of Uganda. The Museveni junta, which is in fact family, calling it a junta gives it a bigger, kind of platform. It is the Museveni family that is causing pain to the whole country, because they control all the power, the family, not NRM. The problem is not NRM, which is the Museveni family. Museveni, Saleh, his son Muhozi, his wife Janeti, his brother, his son-in-law, his sister, his what? They are the ones who control the country.
He also defends himself. He says that it's just a few numbers. It's just the president, then the minister of education, maybe.
Yes, you see, it doesn't matter even if it is.
And he says it's not the entire.
It doesn't matter even if it is.
Not the family running the entire.
It doesn't
family.
matter even if it is just one. The question is who exercises power. Do you, for example, Bonnie, believe that the vice president, Alupo, has power in this country? Do you really think so?
The constitution states that.
Haven't you seen Alupo?
Under the order of precedence.
Haven't you seen that number 2 sitting outside the office of General Saleh, waiting to see him? What is the role of General Saleh in all of this? If you find the vice president, on the bench, waiting to see Saleh, you see, you have seen, for example, Muhozi, the son, has been campaigning, breaking the laws of the army, outrightly breaking the constitution.
Says he was moving as senior presidential advisor.
Even that is breaking the constitution. You see, You cannot serve a party government as a military officer. It breaks the constitution to be a serving military office and be an NRM minister, for example. It breaks the constitution. You are an NRM minister.
The Appointments Committee of Parliament approves this, Dr. Besigye.
It does, and it approves illegality. So this is the whole thing. So what I'm saying is, the country is under the grip of Mr. Museveni and the family, who are causing a lot of pain for the country. You know, the people who are dying in hospitals because there is no medicine are dying because of the family taking the money that would have treated them. Our money that would have treated them, they take it. Because, for example, we have been talking about the budget of this year. This year's budget, this family, and that family now not including even the son, because the son has a different budget now in defense and others. But the home of Mr. Museveni.
Or we say budget for State House.
Yes, the home, not the office. He has another budget for President's office, but the home is going to consume 802 billion this year. 802 billion. The budget of Lira, I think, city.
It's about 35 billion shillings.
35.
Yes.
For the whole city.
And the actual cost less than 18
30 billion. For the family, 802 billion. If that is not being an enemy of the country, what is it? So we think that this family has acted in a manner that has destroyed the country, that has caused so much pain and suffering to the country, and we think the country should unite to stop it. So if you
the country stop if the parliament, where the honorable musicians are, this request comes to parliament and then parliament approves.
Because the parliament is captured by the family, just like the whole country is captured by the family. I mean, what I'm telling you, which they approved, we don't like it. So what you're asking is, what can we do ourselves who don't like it? Because he has been doing that for 40 years. It hasn't started today. He has been taking all the money for their own.
So should we blame the musicians for approving this budget?
You see, it is blaming the victim. The musicians, the whole parliament is a victim of capture. The people to blame are those who have captured the country, and they are the ones we must unite to get rid of. So if somebody chooses, like our Naja people, chooses that, no, for me, I want to work with that one who is causing pain. Now you are saying, can't we find a way? Should I, you know, the only way we can find, if they say, no, we are wrong, I think we shouldn't work. We shouldn't work with this problem. We should work against it. If they make that decision, we welcome them wholeheartedly, and they come back to the front and fight.
Thank you.
But as long as they are,
I want to stop for another quick break. Let's just do time check, and then we will be able to return. Also, glad to inform you that we've been joined by the Honorable Salam Musumba, the Vice Chairman. She calls herself Vice Chairman of the FDC.
She doesn't call herself.
I am.
Because it's not a nickname. We've also been joined by the Honorable Harold Kaija, the Secretary General for the FDC and Katonga faction.
Not function.
Let's stop for a quick break. And then
And the gongs are not so.
Voice of American 88 is brought to you by
MTN My Paka Paka Bundles.
Sebo,
yes.
if we continue doing what you don't like,
9 a.m.
Will you just continue lamenting that you see what I'm As long as you believe that what we are doing, you don't like it.
How are you?
Then you must join those who are saying, bear with them.
I like it. I work best under stress.
Under stress.
Did you sleep? Because it is okay. We want to give you an entire page. You are not a regular visitor, sir.
Are you coming back next week? Is he coming back next week?
You know, I was in Navy, Navy Hospital. The first person who signed on the business book was President Navy. Wow! And he also remembered me like
Yes, after here, you like
I have enough to write. Your brother is beginning to talk properly. Yes? But there's been enough for now. He's the man I know. He can't breathe.
You didn't send me the link. Let me do.
Sting, live switched on from the makers of Pepsi.
The voice of Lango is no longer
Since you are 0702
that one.
0752 418.
Actually, that one is more clearer when you even call.
752 44 the remaining one.
No, they are called 4.
Oh, 4 balls.
Mr. Muswangani, Woyo Miyangena, Yatuteniba, Still until Gina Yola, TMXP 500 pass, Man Pichuke, Lugiro, in a tech to one new American Malu, another Haduni, a Timeto still until how can I call you?
Everybody else. I better get it.
Inspired by innovation.
So, we'll summarize. Then we'll give you the time and then for some 5 minutes after translating what you just said. Shower out. We are returning back from Nugikoma wechichikakentia bill yomechawa dedome utikumenyatin tu ni programme we major tiakato voice of Lango FM utikumenyatin utikede President John Party me FDC can retire Dr. Kizza Besigye Kifefe tukila meme parliament me Buhechu County Francis Mujishe utikara chekere won kompi party me FDC me Lira me down with the people's governor people's government mono aduong boni o gwangson utiama utikara chekere won komachon pi district me Kamuli man danga bela won kompi party me FDC side me Katonga faction Salama Musumba kede Harold Kaija Dr. George Okelo Kwaro jotikere otikumenatin e studio amitu miyokare but adum Dr. George Okelo Kwaro me gonyo no nok summary dake habit ngwame Dr. Kizza Besigye obiro kobote miyokare but Francis Mishishe dake hachela rio kede oboni Gongson kede Salama Musumba otega muchimu inamba note abiro abisi labora note abora deg Airtel tin note abira bicha bit abora note aboro adeg. But before I give opportunity to Dr. Ekwaro to translate what Dr. Besigye has been saying, let me just read a question here from one of our listeners, Patrick Odon. Dr. Besigye, maybe you note this, you will answer after translation from Dr. Ekwaro. He says, Dr. Besigye, as an ardent NRM supporter, I want to applaud you as the NRM National Political Commission Emeritus and Bush War hero. My question is why you have a record of always attempting to break up institutions that you have been part of, starting from NRM in 1999, subsequently FDC2. Does it mean you are not an institutional builder? Secondly, can the good doctor comment on any success he has achieved from his ever-changing Defiance campaigns? If there is no success to report, then I suggest that you retire quietly to your farm in Rukungiri. That is a question from one of our listeners, Patrick Odongo Lango. Dr. Ekwaro, mi Gonkong, loka Dr. Besigye da kira pitch. Eka ote miyukare bot otelo kendecha medanko.
Upo yo moderator Lango nyo lemono. Eda mi niya wata pola. Ingo me adunga duko mkoche. Ola loko me no da du loko da mi tiwano mi chawa me rongo loko Lango pi ria to bi ka. Iwi adit Dr. Besigye okobuni en etie bedo be Uganda kan meta mitieko penyo tama jo kita me uma National Council obedo kire utako buni mi kong be round Uganda kan me penyo tam kirango me jo tia tam ni pari wa mare ku bere FDC odo balle kiro ko ni ngado mi jo tim ti wora nyimpi ente ko buni pari yo mirunge ni kay ini kwa pari mirunge ni pari tia chalo tawka ame kay ini ya me word by word Kampala ka tunu ba kam dini kan ka ta mayo ta wango ko che yin pe gi woti ini me de woti pien pari me di siri ko o mi oberu tie me ke la loka e Uganda peri ko kerme beru kere nyuti kire yueri kita me utela tia mitu kere do bala me ti parni tiu binu dang tie ko potia yellow wi wapien jamo beru ti meri parri mo beru rikapol chondari tum mano mi upo tum pien pe ho me tiu chare malo boto tela otela me mirge nu tie ni mir jolong ya ko te wori ti kire yueri eto wan jo ame utiu dong chien ni utiu ko buni kari kono ka yi dam du bero hol pien jo kenu ko begin dong holo ko che pe mi to mede ke yele ni pien chengoro to gino ka mo bero gino chan na gi mor no put pe to ka bero wete mir jo wot bor yu eto wan tiu ko buni wan pe wot ko no pien par wan pe ko cha me wot no te ke yu eri te wot ko buni pe ame ti Uganda kan long tiu cha here pi pe ame yu eri kere yi wani tiu ma ko kere Uganda Penny and Aremba, Macum Uganda long, Parria Chielki can Dano family, you were in a Tomaho. Do you can I met here not yet? I mean, to copy I tell you, Tamir word record, and no can I melt you, Tamir Jacota, how can I? Kodang were red, Potia again, no code, Pien Kodang, Yomioni, Rubino to very cope, UPC, any Kirachieli, and Bino word record, you are Pobino, Jona, Shawan. Donga man shawa ni no wan ko ni kari ko be wan ti ko wan ko be den kita wot kire to ka pe wor kita me nyote tum yor no mi onen kitro me we no kita me yo Uganda me de wor ni me ke la ha kita me wan no ko cha ko pe jon yo ni ber ni yo mi ro ni mo ha tu mi a me do yo wor ya me tu mi ya pe re we chiel o tera me par bino borre ena dit Besigye ta kwa ni numero yo no ta cara chiel ke movement gino ta kwa ya gino ko en mo ame tu ko bi barri na ta chawa ni no yen yo ma ti ame tin numero yo long do ya yo ta wota wa chiel i movement pen gino du ko bi yo ti wot a chiel do ka yo wota chiel yo do mi wo longa wa chiel man lo ni masarenda ni eto we ene kwa ya ko che wanda puro kwa ya ko che do wa no mi ni wan mi me de kere gina mere FDC o bino o hijo metimo dan mo ame putia wor ni chawa ni no ta wo dong ba ti ho kun ko ni wan put pero yo mi runge ni jora meti na janan kumbi ni dano gi ya chiela mo ni Yusuf Nsab sibambe ko wi parliament ni ene etieme tikiri government pemi to ko man be ruba kire government ni ento wan otuko ni wan miro kwan government ameti ni ene so nyuru ni wan do porong ti yuti chame ti chara kiel kire jo men na janan kumbi pien gin miro gi pat kire ngwa wan ti omir ni otin do moni wiye ngo eno ko wo no ata mi wa da woro nyimra ko bijo program wa ko che rio ni yung radio kan o ke tatura William man Mary and my gasha otar wate kere otela me FDC yung yo to wate kere luak melao ilao koran kanu mono cha hatu di chawa boro kita me program atin tiang me kere no
Boy Electoral. Honorable Francis Mushishe, maybe you have a word to the people of Lango as well.
Well, just comment about your view that Parliament is the one that has been passing some of these budgets, and so whatever goes out of Parliament is right because it has gone out of Parliament. My view is different. We are supposed to speak for and on behalf of the people, and if we don't, then you have all the sanctions that you can put against us as the people we represent, because we can make mistakes. Many of us believe that Parliament shouldn't have passed the age limit amendment, but it went through Parliament. Does it make it right because it went through Parliament? My answer is no. So at the end of the day, it is up to the people of Uganda to look through these institutions. And if the institutions are not doing what you think is right, please don't hesitate to sanction us by way of either joining the forces against dictatorship, the forces for change, including you, the journalists. Because at the end of the day, it comes back to you. You will suffer the same consequences. We live in the same country. So whether the problem is in church, for me the challenge is not where the problem is, but whether it is right or wrong. whether it is in the church, whether it is in parliament, whether it is in the studio like here, wherever it is, let wrong be wrong. Otherwise, we also find challenges as members of parliament. But maybe because a few of us are there, that's why it comes to light. Maybe some of these things will be going unnoticed. So our attempts to fight is what brings it out so that you know that something has gone through parliament and it wasn't supposed to be endorsed by us as members, but it went through. So we generate a debate. And this debate must come to Lango, must go to Achori, and so people started discussing it. And when the opportunities like this of our leaders mobilizing us to move, then we join and move. As long as we know that we are moving in the right direction. So me, I am here in Lango to rally you people that let's move together. The challenges are very clear. We don't need to convince you. No.
Honorable Francis Mushishe, you were in Rukungiri.
Yes.
And your clip was making round on social media. You said that, look, even the current government passed through Katonga to move to State House. And many people were wondering what you meant by that statement.
Well, historically, you know, when you cross Katonga, you take over power. So I only said we moved from Najanamkumbi and now we are at Katonga, at the verge of taking over power. It's just Dr. Besigye knows that after crossing Katonga, they took over power. So maybe Najanamkumbi was far away from State House. We are now close, a few meters from Katonga to State House in Nakasero. So we see Museveni every morning pass by. We are planning.
Thank you very much, Honorable Francis Mushishe. Honorable Salam Musumba, Vice Chairman, not Vice Chairperson.
Yes, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be here in Lango.
Maybe you be closer to the
And it was twisted like
maybe you raise it a little bit
just
high.
because it is yellow, that's why it has a
twisted like an area.
Okay.
Well, I'm happy to be in Lango again. The last time I was here, we were paying our last respects to Imam Cecilio Gual, and I continue to bring my condolences to Lango as a region, because she was a big voice for you. And as I said then, we are still looking for voices from Lango, big enough and loud enough to talk about the national issues, not just Lango issues, to be able to mobilize the nation. Because the political DNA exists. And I'm glad to see you look like one such political DNA. And a DNA that is looking for the development of an entire nation. We have had the biggest challenge that everybody has been boxed back to their villages. And so they think locally, act locally, manage locally. But the issues we must deal with are bigger than that. For me, who is family, because I have a daughter here, I actually come home from the Adupa family. So there's something that I continue to feel and see, that the voice of Lango is lost on the national policy issues, on the international policy runnings, on the statecrafts. You have been reduced to singers, sing-songing, and rationalizing, and the way the very good Odong now this morning that says actually missing the issues. You are taking a very dangerous twist in politics, and in a global world, in the knowledge world, when you begin to think that way, you will lose grip. You are not even ready for the other generation of leaders. So please, we are here as friends, we are here as family, we are here as change seekers and peaceful people to discuss with you what do you see that we don't see? How do we plan? How do you add to the planning table of Uganda? And so we are happy to be here. We are happy to do business with you. I am particularly here to remind the people of Lango that when we formed the Forum for Democratic Change, 20 years ago, I was in charge. I was the first president. I was the first chairman of this party. And our first meeting took place in Krugersdorf. Not because there were no men here, but there was a man who had gone to exile, retired Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye, the foundation on which we built this party. I'm here to remind you, brothers, because we have a short memory and people change words, but I'm glad I'm here and I'll do that for you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Salamu Musumba. Aduonga Boni Ogwangson Utiama, Governor, People's Government, Chairman FDC.
Why moderator we come mod jam at the voice of La Carodushu, that old Jollo, Welewa Mobino, Wolewok, Ladametie, Metal Louis, Kanaloka Uganda, retired Colonel Kizza Besigye, Melwenyeretie PPN, Loyeretie Uganda, Pero Moko, we, Uchako do Lwenkin Museveni Doom. One hour you come be, Karasisi Tiatello. Bino kicha one no chako na ko be lodge no petere Uganda be ena den woni atete duong eno kele lumme kala duong bino charo gi ko e kala de neno ko ni ginu charo gi ko era pio ko e pio ko ne du bojo Uganda ne o bino not tiwa kara chiel mebe ko kwan tuo ni ko do tuo ne ko ti gurna ka parliament ka do wado obewu yelo member parliament ni petio ne na budget o hotel tunga Museveni duong woke inu wano ti yela tuo pienjo parliament ati tuo chiel biro nen tuo ni eno kwany ame tuo no bero jo me yot loche yot to ke ni loche pa ngeo ka make up pe ka ko ka banga do ne bugan e loche pa ngeo kidami duong kere ngiro jo me wuni nung wa nying lo tiene me yot tien lo che yot tiene kwena yaye pe nyo ta ne nyo pe de ko me a jo me pe da pe me la so ana po yo bino me pe gina era mi de la on bin nyang ameda lung ni lang ni bin winya be obedo luenya me tie me mi o jo ka na ni ngo mi o ebisi ageno geno waki Tiro doka goro, tiro doka yario. Ero come che non vedo in io che il gioco ni debisi chua ciel. Ero tu diciamo noni. Io a me wano quaio tela. Te mi chingi. O loco tambio. O come che lo io che ho. O tingo do parte a loro te me de che de chat ko quel. Bon Museveni. Ero creciello tenoni jo mo tenoni pe o tohano ka tia manno. Pe o tohano ko tio me wot Bon Museveni. O tohano tio me wo gam lo me ke lo cha lo ha Uganda. Me gam lo che o dugu te lo te dero. So eno tohani jo ame bote ya ba mi to ke lo te dero. En Kizza Besigye por kwoti ene tikane. O do tare bine mi jo nyang. Me we jo nene o be ko tohani ene. Manda mo nu o gena ber waki. Ena do nu do rero ko yo. Uno do accident o gane iya ger o to hapat nyo kwanyo to hapat o wodo rib kericing o tun kan no woriye mekela loha o do da bino meni a bino gonyo ginapol enda do temi ya pora be kita me ene dwotie o eta miero no betkere ha mene ni ko no twere o no miero neni Uganda, come do gamo lodge, they do go with Canada, ya go to salute both civilian. With lodge bill kiri tuero o tedero, lodge me tiupi o tedero, pe lodge me dog o tiu a yak kodoga yak o tero, gina me wego o tedero beda bo gina me konji da hatan, tote mede, pehotia mede, chandangotia neno, ero otavani. Ena bine loki pat te Uganda kereni. Me ko net kirme wot karachiel. Me poden pe po tampe da go o kwerne miero neno yelle wulu kala la. Da la na mito yor.
Poyo matetu to atuong Boni Ogwangson Otiama. Can you retire Dr. Besigye? I want to give you opportunity to respond to what Honorable Odongo Patrick Lango had raised about the issues of building institutions and ensuring that institutions work even if their former leaders are no longer in charge?
Well, first of all, I don't know how long Odong has been in NRM, but I suspect that he may be one of the many people who sometimes speak for something they hardly understand, who may even think that NRM is an institution. You know, I would like to advise him to reflect. You know, recently I told a young man who has just been appointed a minister, he's called Balam. He has been speaking for Muhozi and his Pirao. And so when he was made a minister recently, he told me that I should go back to NRM, you know, because, you know, it's a good thing. And I told Balam that, you know, when we formed the first NRM government in 1986, Balam was 6 years old. He therefore does not really know where NRM was coming from. He has grown up to find Museveni president and NRM there, and he got excited and joined them. But I told him that, you know, traditional wisdom, says that if a young dog, a puppy, sees all the dogs evacuating a place, it's unwise for the puppy to go there. I asked him, you know, you trace whom Museveni came with from the bush to form the NRM government. How many are still with him? Reflect on why they left him, and now he's looking for younger dogs who don't know what happened.
Maybe the other ones are becoming old to fight.
If they are becoming old to fight, then the one who is even older should have vacated. So, but the point I'm making is, the point I'm making is this, that you know, NRM, which we built, was supposed to be an institution that is controlled by its organs. It was not supposed to be an NRM of Museveni. No. But you may have seen very recently that the top, what is supposed to be the top organ of NRM, which is called the SEC, the Central Executive Committee, you know, was crying because they could not meet since Museveni would not call it. And, you know, they were crying to have a meeting because many decisions were happening without their knowledge, some of which they were concerned about, like the question of Muhozi himself, but they could not meet. These were the top people of the NRM, and they were crying to amongst themselves, writing a petition to him. And eventually, I don't know whether he met them or whatever. So NRM is not an institution. It is just...
Odongo is also raising a concern that, particularly in FDC, are institutions, is the institution of FDC working even after its former leader is no longer in charge of the institution he built.
Yeah, so I became the president of FDC in 2005. And I left the leadership in 2012. So I was FDC leader for 7 years. FDC has been there for now 20 years. So FDC has outlived me, my leadership, for 13 years. I led it for 7, it has been there for 20. And by the way, I think that leading and living is one way of building institutions, so that institutions don't become personal institutions. And so when I left, General Muntu became the leader. And you know that earlier, I was actually contesting with General Muntu, but later on I stepped down and he was able to become the leader. And that's how institutions should grow. As I have said, of course, we have had an unfortunate turn of events where our leaders, our chosen leaders, decided that they were tired of opposition, you know, which is unfortunate, very, very unfortunate. Because even if you are tired and you think we should have a different approach, it's better to call a meeting of the party. Because even before, there were many things we did. For example, this defiance they are talking about. General Muntu did not believe in defiance. But when he was a leader, he would call the meeting of the party. We would discuss, vote, and whatever the party decides, he would go with. That's how institutions work. You don't conspire against your own institution. So, to Odongo, I would like to inform you very authoritatively that NRM is not an institution if you belong to it. And secondly, that I have not been responsible for breaking any institution, including the challenges which are in FDC. As I have said, I left the leadership of FDC many years ago.
My last question.
The second question he asked was, what success, if any, our defiance struggle has achieved? You see, success of a struggle is not achieving the ultimate goal alone. For example, changing the power. Even as we have been struggling. For example, one thing the people of northern Uganda don't realize, if we had not put very strong opposition against Museveni, the war in northern Uganda would still be here. You know? But we fought and challenged him and galvanized the whole of northern Uganda, and now tackled him in southern Uganda, and he realized we were going to uproot him. He had to change tactics. That's why he had now to resort to talking to Kony. He had refused to talk to Kony. You remember, even when Honorable Betty Bigombe went and talked to Kony, they brought Kony. Kony was in Gulu town, being supplied food and everything. They were encamped. Museveni attacked them and spread them back into the bush. You know, so but because of our sustained pressure, he had now to realize he had to make peace in the north, and actually now he's cornered everywhere. I told you in the 2016 campaigns that soon, when we chase Museveni, he will be looking for refuge in northern Uganda. Because that's what he's trying to do now. He's trying to pacify and bribe leaders in northern Uganda so that he can have some comfortable place. Because also he's taking advantage of having weakened northern Uganda very much. He knows everybody is very poor. So he can now use his money to good benefit and compromise some people. But that is one of the, what I consider achievements of our struggle. Secondly, you may remember that government had officially taken a decision not to pay for students at Makerere. They had said end of government-sponsored students in Makerere. It was our direct pressure that forced not only to remain the government sponsorship, but to increase it from 2,000 to 4,000. It has been our pressure to end. They had introduced co-pay in the hospitals. Some people have now forgotten cost sharing in the hospitals. We had to fight it off. It was our struggle that ended graduated tax. You know, people hiding and being tied on ropes and so on, hiding in the bushes of overgraduated tax. So even before we achieve our ultimate objectives, there are many things we are stopping. We are going even now, this campaign we are beginning, we are going to stop, we want to stop all this grabbing of our people's land. We want to stop the taxation that is strangling people. You saw businesses closing. They are bringing foreigners to take over business, Chinese, Indians, and so on. They are the ones retailing things in the shops. They are the ones now Batembe, the people who go hawking. You find the Chinese hawking their products all over. We must stop this, and we are going to stop it. Even in this,
our time seems now to be running out. But I just have one question before I can take some 5 callers to ask you some questions if they have. You said in Rukungiri and in Kasese that you're back. Should the other option you talk about of getting a new vehicle succeed, will you make an attempt again in 2026 for the presidency of Uganda?
That is a very, very good question. You see, I have contested 4 times, and I believe I have defeated Museveni as many times. In 2016, I had already realized that they will never announce me as a winner, even when I win. So I had to take the extra step of announcing myself. And, you know, we declared results. We had won. Of course, I was immediately arrested and taken to Karamoja, where I was imprisoned, and later on to Lira. But eventually they had to bring me to court. And I told the court, open court, that it is true I declared myself a winner. Because I was being charged with treason, which is a capital offense. I said it is true I declared myself in open court. So, let the case begin. What are you investigating since I am here and I have said it is true? Why do you say you are still investigating? I am here, it is true. So let me bring my evidence to court that I won. And that's why I declared myself. And I still have the evidence that I won in 2016.
But in 2016, you did not go to court. It was
because there is no court. You see, again, there is no court. It's like the parliament you were talking about. There is no parliament. You know?
the same court now, the honorable musicians are also saying
yes, that's
going,
precisely
that's the issue of elections, of FDC.
Yes, we have been taken to court, but that is the reason why we are consulting. Can we rely on this court? Is it a court that can be relied on, or it's also a court that is like a walking stick of Mr. Museveni, like Parliament is, you know? If, and I believe our listeners agree with me that we have defeated Museveni in elections. So if we have defeated Museveni in elections, but because he is the only one who announces he's the candidate, He's the one who counts the votes. He's the one who announces.
Dr. Besigye, there is the Electoral Commission.
And which is that Electoral Commission? Who put it there? The candidate.
The Constitution. The President will appoint the Electoral Commission.
Yes, but so he's the candidate. He's the Electoral Commissioner because he has appointed the Electoral Commission to judge his election.
The Parliament approves that Electoral Commission.
And it is his Parliament, you know. So this is what everybody must understand about state capture.
Thank you very much.
So
Dr.
what
Besigye.
you were asking the question of 2016,
2026.
2026. Our view, which is why we are here, is that we believe 2026 is not a program that is part of the plans to end our pain and capture. It is a plan of Museveni and how to maintain control of Uganda. We must have our own plan for liberation, which must be undertaken whether there is an election or not. And this is what...
There is a constitutional means.
Yes, there is
power that is elections.
The Constitution actually provides in Article 3. Go and read Article 3.
But you also believe in the rule of law, Dr. Besigye.
Article 3 is law. Article 3 of the Constitution is law. It says when the Constitution has been violated, as it has been, and I can demonstrate the gross violation of the Constitution, including what we have just been talking about, where you find General Muhoozi, who is violating the Constitution, cannot be tried, is instead put in charge of the army. If the Constitution can no longer serve the people, is being violated, Article 3 of the same Constitution was put for that purpose, and it gives the people of Uganda power. In fact, a duty. It calls on all Ugandans to do the duty of doing everything in their power to stop everything in
following the constitutional framework.
Everything. Read number 3. Everything in their power.
Thank you very much, Dr.
The rule that is going on.
Let me take your calls. Oga Muchimu, note, Apiro, Abishel, Aporo, note, Abora, Dek, Airtel, note, Abira, Bishop Beach, Abora, note, Aporo, Kiladek. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Muchimu, hello? 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 Yes, hello?
I don't better can you girl not a very day, but you know. You take any to everything, and all I agree. Never president in Uganda. I come marry her. Well, me, Johnny, don't have everything. You don't want to come. Don't be there for power, but to get. Not I know the word UPC, not I worry. And I being off. I come back, in the garment queen, they go, I don't know, they're there. Just safari. A boy, and program.
Hello?
Daniel Martha.
Yes, Joseph.
Joseph.
Daniel.
Yes.
You will give me the question.
My first question. I want our former president to tell me what reason made him not to participate in the campaign of 2021 to support Warrior if he's not having any personal problem with him. Then, secondly, what has he done on FDC to remove the ruling government And yet he knows very well that the ruling government always keeps the election, they appoint his own electoral commission. What plan does he have? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello? Appointment with BS.
Upoyo,
Appointment Mr. Besigye in the studio there. Mr. Besigye has been my best client in Paris to go to Kampala.
Maybe you start with your name, sir, and where you're calling from.
I'm called Thomas Walajo from Kamak, where he's coming to lay rent on Mark So it has been my best. Where before we sold Paris to go to Nakumat. And I really like him. He came every Saturday, and I always thought him as my client. Mr. Besigye, I like him being the party president of FDC DF. What I like from him, I want to thank him when he's alive. What I like from him, he has never stepped down. He has never stepped down stupidly to demote himself to become an MP or what. He has come to become the party president and the some position for the Secondly, I like Besigye because they have never showed their party to other countries. But when you hear when you need, Mr. Besigye is our no, a man who came my bed, for any room. Both success and marrying no, the Amani Chawa, the faction, your Jacare Terra Mary. Terra Mera Jalo, a small population, may Uganda and a FDC. People paying for that, you know, president to a Uganda or that failing Manu Mario, Besigye or Bino Devil or Yomo, you want Uganda. This is the kind of punishment because when he got the punishment, I'm not moving that Jalo told he come a Jaloti I got in Norway. Yeah, one a citizen across the world. I know here Jalo party president. No, me open you to say there because in order to go there because basically Petero is contact one and Caro Logia Pecono to a letter. May I take a company? I don't basically Caro no limit. I made up or made a community limit and on the call. Only Chawani, I may not do anything more you call. No, and I got him more, and I got a blue, make on another running or get a destination I had to make one of the middle lot. These are not a young journey, I have no dinner, Yamona, win out a lot of government in the year. I boy, madam, I was the empty package of the year. Just promise me book.
Boy, Jack. Hello. Yes, Maurice.
I think that's why you can come for Dr. Carlos. The bit do a man that one is now. And on my young Payane, you can't have a possible part of Moria. If any go back for Nino. Tell the party way. Mario. Amita Pua, no, I'm going to make Uganda, your channel. You know, I think you show my show the I'm not able to be one you go. To the company, and not for the left is going to pay for the left is your go.
Appointment. Hello.
Yes.
Boy, it's over.
Not that long, I Dr. Kizza Besigye for the morning. Yeah, very well. That's a good deal up here. I'm a better job than I am. I'm a careful, you mean. I don't die Dr. Kizza Besigye. I'm not a carrier to one, a man for the city. Charlie and Bertie Moore appear a bit here. Need for the tea, if there only we can look good, the winner. Kerutina me, yo pero yellow be, I'm a very worried you, Tapuki, you, Megitan and the cannon here. If I get here away, man of the here. Mario,
Magikiran.
Mario Magiki. I don't know, Muakani, Ido Woro, Patiti,
Nothing like it, like you're down about I end up getting mobilization. Nana look at metal, the very more opinion leader, you are made keep a man off, political setup about what it's in the business tomorrow. My wife could be on the eye. Yeah, it's out on that. Yeah, you know where you are going. Not only where man.
Maybe we should first respond to this because but we will need time to respond.
Hello. Yes, hello.
Yes, I bet.
I tell me to pay you basically. Yeah, I ain't no better get a party president now. I know marriage or no marriage. I don't know if I I don't need to pay you question now, man. And Maxi, you know, who went away, you're going to Jaro. Jaro, you go to you. You okay at room no. Ting Waka and Utu, your man, your pony or Panaquila, while a thing to be a to get a museum. You're taking a plan, not giving me to put the Elgino.
Boy, my I don't know penyo kenepian chawa tumoko ticket the news chawa and when neotiko. Dr. Besigye, unfortunately, we are even running out of time now. We'll just give you about 3 minutes to respond in general. The
it can't be in general because I didn't even hear most of the questions, so you should first give me the questions, then I can see what I can.
Yes, let me just go straight away. One Kojo Karamba is calling from Lira. He says that why are FDC supporters, some of them leaving the party and going to join other political parties? Daniel from Apart asked that...
Daniel, I got it, was in English.
Yes, then Mr. Akacha JB is saying that, do you think that what you are doing now will bring peace to the people of Uganda? He's also saying that, why don't you retire and live now maybe active politics for young people, like he was mentioning, Jimmy and Kena. So those are some of the, I think, 2 questions. The other ones have been...
No, the other one was also that when is he going to remove all young people who are in prison as a result of his activism?
Yes, Doctor.
Yeah, thank you very much. Unfortunately, indeed, there is very little time to answer who may be leaving FDC to join other parties. Being in a party is a personal decision, and leaving is equally a personal decision. And these personal decisions are, caused by... You have been listening to how the problem in FDC started, which I touched on at the beginning of this program. It came ahead of the 2021 elections, not after. Started before the election, and the money that has been talked about and so on all happened before the election. The reason we didn't want to talk about it before the election is, first of all, because we thought we could resolve it internally. We thought we could give ourselves time to resolve it internally. But we also thought that in a charged period like an election, if such matters come to the public, they can affect negatively those people who are not part of the problem, who are simply candidates of FDC, have no problem with anything. They could be adversely affected. So that is why I didn't campaign for people who had chosen a different path. The second question...
I'm just sorry, we have run...
Yes, let me quickly... he was, of course, he asked a plan for change. The plan is to fight. There is no... We must fight, and we have made it very clear that we shall fight without using guns. There was somebody who was asking me to retire. I will not retire until I have achieved what I came out to do. I will continue fighting if you are not happy with what I am doing, do what makes you happy to do. If, for example, you think that Honorable Akena will cause the changes that we are talking about, support him and cause those changes. If we think he is not doing what we need to do to cause the changes, we shall continue doing what we are doing. Now, there was a question.
There was first a question from Mori, Ogwalo Job. He was talking about the division in the party, and he was actually saying that, is it possible to have these challenges resolved so that a new party do not emerge?
Yes, that one I have already responded to. I don't need to respond to it again. There was somebody who asked whether our struggle is not a fake struggle, whether we are not secretly conniving with Museveni. Who connives with Museveni is not in words but in actions. People can say they are opposing Museveni in words when in action they are working with him. People can say they are working with Museveni when in action they are opposing him. What is critical is what actions you take. So we have done everything in action. We have fought on the streets, we have fought in the elections, we have fought in courts, we have taken Museveni to court twice in the petitions, which we have won in the courts also.
And the courts have actually ruled that the evidences that were used were not substantial to overturn results.
Well, no. First of all, you are misinforming.
No, I'm stating facts.
The fact of the matter is that all judges in 201 and in 206, without division, 5 in 201, 7 in 206, said the election was not free or fair. All of them.
But
without
in their ruling, they also stated that even if they were challenged, they could not overturn.
So the second ruling you are talking about, the second ruling you are talking about,
the one of 206.
No, the one of saying what is an unfair election is not unfair enough. That is that is against the Constitution, because the Constitution allows only free and fair election, no any other election. So, but as I have said, Justice Kanyihamba, who was one of the judges, has written a book to talk about how Museveni intimidated the judges to arrive at the decision you are talking about. He was a judge of the court. He has
now, so it's one against.
He has written a book none of the judges he was with has challenged him. So the book is there. It has been there for now some years. So this is why we tell you the court is captured, the parliament is captured, all institutions of the state are captured. That's why we are in Lango today. And if you want to hear the plan forward, come to the rally today. It is going to be
Lango Koran.
Lango
Koran. Idi Amin Mosque.
Yes, at the Idi Amin Mosque ground, Lango Koran. Come there this afternoon at 2. Let us discuss together how to get ourselves out of this capture, where all institutions are not working for us, where we must fight for ourselves to get out of this together.
Thank you very
Either
much,
we get out or we shall disappear and this country will belong to other people. Thank you very much for listening to me and giving me the opportunity, Lango, voice of Lango. Thank you. Thank you.
For more time.
Yes, Voice of Lango, thank you very much for hosting us this morning. Time cannot be enough, unfortunately, but I am grateful for being hosted and for all of you tuning in and listening to us. Have a great day. God bless you. For a total.
Let me give opportunity to Dr. Ekwaro Okelo to translate the messages of Dr. Besigye. Dr. Ekwaro.
Yes, Jogamelao, you are you me berukeru dikotin. Iti winye unukere aduonwa obero luit yat nyo foundation me yelewa wan to yele ke ni lo ke wi chawa ni jameno ko ko le runi ni wi mu pien uni beru jame ni le mo to twal donge wi en ti ko ken ka ni yelewa wan to yele ke ni pe binu gigaen pe ya we ko din ma me ngo ame ya me cha ko timo choncha utum amo beru ke la loha Uganda kan kayin ti tamunyo ni en ti no te ke de yueri nen ngo ame ne ti timo pien no te ke yueri yo pe no te ke pe beru ilo beri ngo ame down ti timo one on street worry court worry yera en tu jemelung pot po chobe pe nyuruni wando failing ko che ngato te ko buni ngata mo ko beni ere ya we dong lo jeng ko che we yo ayot ba ji ma kena gini tel ene pe kere pe ho ngata me tia tamni ji ma kena nyu ngato ro kene tia me tia ti yugin na me rwate kere miri mere en ko wotwa he yo me tamni en tia ti yugin na be dang chwa he ka jo ngor wate kara chiel tama chiel mon mo ber eto ka nu ni ngato ra me tia ko bni en pe chwa yuwe ku dia ti no te gin yuwe en pe binu wo lai na cha ka yin mi to ni i chwa he nyu pe chwa he yin ngo en ti ti yu ami chu ni te moko ka chwa ke nyu pe chwa ke wan ro te ngi chawa boro do ka yin ti gin na me mi tu ngeyo i ngo ame wan ti ta mo me ti mo me kwanyu government ra chi no kai lo yor bin chawa boro ida min mosque ame wan chon yerlo ni la koran chawa boro nu wati kana cha i public rale gina me wan nu lo mi la angeyo kita me agenda wati ekere
Oyo mateka Dr. Okele Kwaro. Francis Mushishe, your last remarks?
Well, just to agree with Dr. Besigye that the problem of Uganda is well known, and for me, Parliament is not the problem of Uganda, even when I sit there. Actually, when I saw the UK sanctioning the Speaker, I said, but why are they sanctioning the Speaker? They should sanction Museveni. Because if it's about corruption, Museveni is not just a product of corruption, he's the corruption itself. So I just was waiting to see a sanction against Museveni, and not just members of Parliament or a few ministers, but sanctioning Museveni, because he's the problem of this country. Because finally...
Maybe the sanctions come also when evidences come.
Well, they have all the evidence. We have passed very many legislations. He has just ignored. We censured the minister. What happened? Minister was censured. Nothing. We wrote a report on the Okofi agreement. Nothing. The other time we attempted to go and visit Rwanda, we were stopped by the army. So at the end of the day, the problem is Musevenizing this country. And as long as we don't deal with him, we are just wasting time.
Thank you very much, Honorable Francis Mushishe. Honorable Harold Kaija. Just maybe one word.
No, I can only greet the people of Lango. Thank them for welcoming us. Our leader has given them our message. I want to thank them for the reception and the question they've sent in to show that they're actually very active people. And the kind of environment found here. Thank you so much, Lango, Afoyo Matek. Let's meet at the rally.
Thank you very much. Chairperson FDC me Agago.
Ana poe matek lo ka gere pia chere ken to tole boro ka pate me laung kan ma yang wara chak ken gere ken al chel pe ko me pate ni yo ma politika tamoni na jana kumbe rom de deba wan one be the national council pe ko tien ke gam chen pe wa de lo ke let me say it here pe ko ma bir ma wan tika face ko be ni Nandala ke o boy ku gam chente melweni pa donc wero wa mo ko ni danu ku bin ki wote ki wat danu me jono charo pate ko bot Museveni ena wero wan jo mo kere ma pe wan tamoni danu lwenyo ko gi la kan danu to apol ning pate tawni wa mede kere ngo kere lwen mela Uganda pe o mo ma pat pe do wan pro mo tik ki jo ma cha mo chente ye choli ka in danu ne ko danu ni in pe chamo keri wi meja chen kina kinono jabu tio ko ketina ko anangi lao kan dung tie yo matam ne reconciliation pe timme pien jo ne dong bo char pateo me agiki ene ni dano to chin ka chel wan puti gi pero ke UPC eno UPC manoti ka lwen mene ne ke kwani Museveni ene pe apola ta do me nge kar ene makui ko be tima choke no dong lok ni da dok wan lwen wa chulo diang ko watimo ngo ene pe betime watoro nyo ka chel ke we dano ene magalwoni Museveni kudo wetela
boy mateka Kenneth Opoka Vice Chairman Salamu Musumba
to defend this country. So please, retired colonels of Lango, join us. We have a job to do.
Thank you.
We are not tired yet.
Thank you very much, Dr. Besigye, for honoring our invitation and sparing your time to come to Voice of Lango FM. We are honored and privileged that you came. Thank you very much, Honorable Francis Mejishe, Member of Parliament for Buheju County. Thank you very much, Dr. Ikwaro Okelo. Thank you very much, Arul Kaija. Thank you very much, Kenneth Opoka and Bonnie Ogongson Otiama for coming this morning. Major program ends now. Our next major program will be tomorrow from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Thank you very much, all of you who tuned in both online and on air. This is my name is BF Otiama.
Thank you.